All we need is a place to be and a few good friends for some company. If you'd like to stay, you don't have to leave. We'll leave the lights on and the door unlocked. If you drop on by, you don't have to knock. We're happy to share whatever we've got.
Welcome to my cluttered garage. I'm really glad you're here. A place where we can laugh and talk and days are filled with cheer. The clouds of sun may come and go, but one thing's always clear. Welcome back, my friend. You know I'm really glad you're here. Yeah.
Hey, welcome back, my friends. I am really glad you're here on live stream number 149. It's February 12th, 2024. We are just on our way to spring. It's right around the corner. I know that there's going to be a blast of snow and cold weather coming in the Northeast and above. It's sort of just above us, which seems to always be the case whenever we have big snow around here. And we had that one good storm, but it just feels like it's always right above us. We're just we're just below the line. But anyway, thanks for being here. I do appreciate it. I see lots of people tuned in tonight. Just to let you know that tonight we're just going to kind of free roll. We're going to talk about my last video. We're going to talk about um, just whatever comes to mind. We're going to do a giveaway tonight. So stick around for that and answer questions in the live chat. If it is your first time here, please say hi in the live chat so that we can welcome you appropriately. And while you're here, let me know where you found the channel. If this is your first time, did you find the channel on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or TikTok? We are live streaming simultaneously to YouTube and Facebook. So you could be watching from either platform or both. And we do this every Monday night from 7 p.m. until 8 p.m. So we'll have you out of here in good time. And while you're here, if you click that thumbs up, we always appreciate that. It's always a good thing to do. And about tonight's show, well, again, we're just going to kind of free roll, talk about some things, answer some questions in the live chat. By the way, if you do have a question, make sure you put it in the live chat in this format. Type out the word question followed by your question, and then we can answer your question. That's how that works. So, hope you were here last week. We had a good conversation with Brock from Rock Hill Farms, who has a interesting channel and has done a fantastic job growing his channel. So I was glad to talk to Brock last week, and I hope you enjoyed that for sure. Let's see who's here with us tonight. Scrolling back up to the top, I see the first person to comment tonight was our friend Ross on the Land, who actually is not even here. He checked in and then checked out because it's his son Aiden's birthday. So happy birthday, Aiden on the Land. Isn't that a funny last name? Aiden on the Land. Manisto Key, Mark is here. Ben is here from Work When Work is Play. And David's here from RCAF Polar Express. Good to see you. And Chevhead Ed and John and Chris from the Watershed Overlook and Bob and Bob and Mike and so many more. Good to see you all here tonight. Again, we'll be pulling out some questions and comments, so make sure you have an active live chat tonight. Of course, if I can't answer your question, there are a lot of good folks here who can. I'm learning that little thumbs up thing, I still haven't done the playback to see if you're seeing that or not, but whenever I do a thumbs up here, it seems to put it on the screen. I don't know how that works. There's my friend Tommy. Good to see you, my friend. And there's John Ritter. He just wants one great big snowstorm so you can have a snow day. You haven't had a snow day yet in Minnesota, John? You have not had a snow day yet? Are you serious? Well, that's something, if I'm reading that correctly. Indeed. Joseph is here. Linda's here. Dave, Eric. Good to see you all. Thank you for the confirmation, Bob, that everybody sees the thumbs up. There it goes. Fascinating. I know one time I did this and there was fireworks when I did that. I can't make it happen again. wonder what else it can do. Does it do a thumbs down? Hope not. Oh, it did. Oh, all right. Well, we'll see about that. So, if you watched the last video, I increased the hydraulic pressure of my Kubota B2601. The intention was to increase the lift capacity, which I would say I succeeded, but it was minimal. And I think that's fair. I didn't want to go overboard with it. Um, Spoiler alert, when I tested the hydraulic pressure, the PSI of the system, it was like at 1900, 1950, right within spec, right where it was supposed to be. And I was somewhat disappointed because I was hoping that it was going to be really low and I was going to be able to bump it up and get a really significant increase out of it. But it was within spec. I still bumped it up maybe 200 pounds. I think I went from 1950 to 2150. And I think 2150 is pushing it a little bit. I think the range is like 1850 to 2050, if I read that right. I read that somewhere on the internet, so it must be true. So I raised it to 2150, which is still not crazy. I think the pump pressure maximum on those machines is 3000, so you really can't overdo it, I guess. Well, you can't, obviously you can't put out more than the pump will do. But I don't know how high you could go. I suppose if you're careful, you can go as high as you want, but folks have been commenting that uh, increasing the lift capacity not only puts undue stress on the components like the cylinders and the frame of the loader, but it puts additional pressure on the front axles. Obviously, if you pick up more than the intended amount, you're adding weight to those front axles, those front bearings. I can't imagine that it would make that much difference on those, unless you were picking up thousands of pounds more. I think they should be able to handle any amount that you could crank that up to. But anyway, that was a comment that I heard. So that's a concern. My concern was really more so about blowing a hydraulic line or a leaky seal, something like that. I wasn't really concerned about bending the frame because I knew it wasn't going to increase it where it would pick up, a ton, literally a ton. I think the lift capacity on the B2601 is like 948 pounds from the pins. Um, and of course, we all know you don't get that capacity out of it because anything you pick up is 2 feet in front of those pins. So you're going to be losing that as well. But I was, in fact, able to pick up that tote full of split wood, which I was not able to do before adjusting the pressure. Was able to do it afterward. Not easily, but I could do it. So I still won't be able to pick that up and put it on the porch or anything like that. But again, I'm just happy knowing that tractor is performing within spec. Now slightly over, but my main focus was to see if it was underperforming, and it wasn't. It's just I think I just expect too much from that little tractor sometimes, but that's all right. So, what do you think? I mean, was that a good idea? I mean, not a bad idea to test it. Should I not have added the shims to increase that pressure just that little bit? John's mentioning the Hydro Plus cylinders. Yes, he's done some videos on those. I don't think they make them for the 2601. And I don't know. Well, you tell me if it would really make significant difference. I think what I have to do is not, again, over expect from that tractor. I think I really shouldn't beef it up anymore. I think it is what it is. The capacity is what it is. And um, I should just accept it. If I want to lift more, I should have a bigger tractor. I think that's the bottom line. You want to do more, get something that's capable of more. That's really the answer. Chef Head Ed making a comment that learned that the curl lifts a lot more than lifting. That's true. In fact, when I moved the tote of wood the first time, I was unable to pick it up even when it wasn't full. I was able to take some of the weight off of it and then I would curl it and that would bring it back. So yeah, that's true. The curl action on those tractors does have more. So if you can get under it and then curl it back, you can lift a little bit as well. So I see Linda's out there with her bees. Bees were out today on the speedwell flowers, gathering nectar and pollen early spring in South Jersey. It is the I don't know. What are those early spring flowers that come up on the stalks that stick up? They've been up kind of all winter, but they're pretty tall. They're the first things to come. I don't know why I can never think of the word. So somebody will tell me. But I'm seeing those already. No flowers, but the little stalks are sticking up as well. And again, we're a month and a half away from official spring. You know, it's not. I mean, just because March 21st, 22nd is spring, that doesn't mean it feels like spring. So Mike is asking, every time you move the lever on the tractor, it goes all the way to 2150, or only when the load increases? I'm going to say that anytime you have full engagement of the hydraulic system, we're talking about the front end loader. So your curl and your lift, and actually I guess your dump if you're pushing down on it. But those functions, if you're fully engaged, let's say you have the lever pulled all the way back to raise it up, I'm going to say you're getting 2150 out of that. Obviously, if you're easing it back to lift slowly, you're going to get slower pressure and it'll increase. But 2150 is the max. So I don't think when the load increases, that pressure won't increase. It's sort of like if you have 30 pounds of air in your tires on your trailer. Let's say you have 30 pounds of air in your trailer tires and you put 1,000 pounds on your trailer. I don't think the PSI changes on those trailer tires. I don't understand that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So yeah. All right, Chris. So maybe I should watch Neil's video. I must have missed that one. Anyway, I don't think I went overboard. If you disagree, let me know. But I don't think I went overboard by bumping it up that little bit. I still have more shims left. I could bump it up to, I think I figured, to 23 or 2,600 pounds if I added all the shims, which obviously I think might be too much. So I was reserved. I was proud of myself for just moderately increasing it. So Tommy has a question about John Deere. Now, what I understand is that John Deere is much more easy to adjust the hydraulic pressure. With the Kubota, I had to remove the plug on the hydraulic. What do you call that cylinder? Like a manifold. Anyway, where the cylinder is, where the lever is, there was a plug I had to remove. There's a spring attached to that plug, and basically that spring is the pressure relief, so that you're not getting the full capacity of the pump. You don't want to get the full capacity of it, but when you have full pressure, the pressure builds up, it compresses that spring, and then you get the blow by of the hydraulic system. So by putting shims, which are just little tiny washers that are only 1 millimeter thick, 1 to 4 millimeters, you put the shim behind the spring. So essentially you're making that spring a little bit tighter, so you get a little more resistance from that. Now, from what I've heard, and I have not seen this done yet, that apparently John Deere has a system where you take a cap off, and under that cap is a screw, and essentially when you turn the screw, you're tightening the spring, which makes perfect sense. I can see where you could seriously overdo that, so I would warn you, Tommy, that if you do that, you want to have a pressure gauge so that you're not overdoing it. So do a little bit of research on your specific John Deere. Find out what the factory spec is for hydraulic pressure. Test it, and then see if you're within spec or not. If you're within spec, my recommendation is just leave it alone. But if you're under spec, you can adjust it. So be real careful with that. But again, I think John Deere is pretty easy to do. So good thing is you can find all that on YouTube, I'm sure. And now that I've been talking about it, there's a lot of John Deere people here who would probably be able to answer that. John's saying that the cylinders he was talking about made a 35% increase with the BX. That's pretty significant, isn't it? It sure is. And that's without increasing hydraulic pump pressure. That's just the different type of cylinders. So that's impressive. John votes for a bigger tractor. That's the answer. That's really the answer. Yeah, I would like to do that. And We don't have plans to do that, but it's possible. It's possible that I would actually sell this B2601 and then go with something bigger. It's just, it makes sense now that we have the bigger property. We could use a bigger mower, bigger lift capacity. It just makes sense. So it just costs money to do that. We know that. So thank you, Ben. The manual says 1881 to 2005 PSI is the spec for the B2601. I remembered it was in the 1800s when I saw that. So 1881 to 2005. Now, I think I went to 2150. So that should be easy math. But anyway, hey, Siri, what's 2150 minus 2005?
It's 145.
145. So I went 145 PSI over spec. All right. All right. But Brian says it's, Brian recommends going more because the Kubota's lift capacity is weak. So, all right. Let's see. Bob says he shimmed one of his to the max. It's been fine for 6 years, but has a bigger tractor now, so don't lift that much with the older one. And that's what I'm thinking is that I'm just not going to, again, overdo it with this tractor. And now I know what, that tote full of wood is kind of the max. And now that I said I might sell the tractor at some point, you guys will be like, I'm not buying that tractor. He increased the lift capacity. He could have damaged it. I could take the shims out. I could do that. So thank you, John. That's really generous and unnecessary. Makes me feel funny, but I appreciate it. I really do. We can put that in the bigger tractor fund, right? We're like 1% there now. Perfect. Yeah, this is interesting, Brian. The Yanmar's 24 horsepower tractor loader capacity is 1,200 pounds at the pin. That's significantly more than the Kubota, which is a 25 horsepower tractor. A lot of them are 25 horsepower, but this one is, again, I think 950 at the pin. So somebody just did a video about some of the off-brand tractors having a much higher lift capacity, and I forget where I saw that, but it's true. I think the big boys might need to step it up to compete with some of these other, I don't want to say lesser known brands, I guess. I would say. Jerry likes his 3301. Yeah, I like that size tractor. I looked at initially the 2501, the L2501. That's what I was going to go with. I don't regret not going with that. That the L2501, same horsepower as what I have, but it's a little bigger frame tractor. I think it does have more lift capacity. So as they say with tractors, horsepower is not your gauge. There's more to it than that. So thank you, John. Bigger tractor fund or an ice cream cone, either one. I like both. I like both. Thank you, though. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that. So yeah, the L2501, I liked that a lot, but it I've said this before. I kind of got sucked into the bells and whistles of the B2601. That it had the telescoping 3-point hitch. What are they called? The bars for the 3-point hitch. Had a 12-volt outlet for phone charger. Dumb. I could put one of those in myself. I don't think I've ever used it. It's there. Tilt steering. I don't care. Never use it. Rubber floor mat. Now the L2502s have rubber floor mats. They didn't back then. It just seemed like a more luxury little tractor, and I did not. I got sucked into it. But what did I like about that specifically? Oh, it had the front facing the mid PTO, and I thought, well, that's pretty neat. Again, I don't need it. I'm not going to get a mid mount mower. I'm not going to get a snowblower, although I'd like to. I don't have a need for one. So I don't see any point where I'll use that mid mount PTO. So I didn't need that. That was an extra. That was not necessary. But what I did like about the 2601 is that it has the hydraulic lever right at your kind of at your hip, where and it's attached to the tractor. Where the L series, the hydraulic lever is connected to the loader itself. So you're reaching forward like this to control the hydraulics, and supposedly it's much more comfortable if you can have your arm back and you're controlling the lever right here. So I thought that was going to be beneficial, and maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know, but I did kind of fall into the idea of that's not good to have that lever out there to do that. So hey, Chris, making me feel funny. All right. Well, I appreciate that, Chris. That's very generous. Uh, we could buy a gallon of ice cream now, right? Awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Uh, so Brian talking about the off-brand tractors, the lesser-known brand. He went with the 424. Yanmar is not an off-brand. That's right. John Deere uses the engine too. So a lot of these are pretty. They're pretty competitive. The Yanmar TYM used to be, I guess, Branson. Now there's LS Tractor. Um, they just they're they're all pretty good these days, and that makes it tough for the big guys to compete, I think, because they're competing with some machines that are not bad. It's the same thing with the side by side industry. I bought the Kawasaki Mule, but there's like not Moto, I forget what the brand. CF Moto is another one that our local dealer has in stock here, and they're kind of an off brand, but they're rising up and getting more popular. But before they were kind of unknown, and you get a lot for your money, and they're probably, again, very competitive. My Yamaha Mule is actually made by some other Chinese brand. I mean, they're all made in China or somewhere like that. Um, I forget what the brand is, but it's some other brand, and they make other lesser known. So even Yamaha is paying these companies to put their name on it, and what makes them really stand out? I don't know. Just the name, I suppose, but that may change. Yeah, Dave, thank you. Mahindra, that was another. Now Mahindra's been around quite a while. They Kubota didn't come to the States until I think 1979. So Kubota in 1979 was like any of these other new, lesser known brands coming to market now or a few years ago. Mahindra, I remember Mahindra coming out, or at least when I first learned about it, and it seemed like one of these companies that was like, off brand. I don't know about that, but they're pretty solid, I think, and they've been around now quite a while. I've seen some old Mahindras out there, so um, they're doing okay. Um, Thank you, Mike. Yeah, Jack at the Mindful Homestead, he sold his Kubota BX and went with a TYM, much bigger. Uh, I don't recall the specs either, but ridiculously high lift capacity. That's important. Those are the things you use most on your tractor. So Brian's saying that the CF Moto is supposedly made or owned by KTM. So that's another big brand, at least with dirt bikes. But the Mule, Brian, I have a couple videos featuring the Mule. There's one where I did a full review when I first got it. It was like a week or two old. Everything in that video that I mentioned still stands. I don't have any different feelings about the Mule than what I had when I first got it, um, with the exception that I do think the brakes work better now than when it was new. They were not very responsive. They're still not great. They're not like power brakes, but they're very adequate. I have no problem with the brakes whatsoever. Very happy with it. The shortcomings are exactly what I said in that video. The small bed size is something that I would like to see a bigger bed, even though I don't use it that much. I've been putting firewood in it. It holds an appropriate amount of firewood. For me, I think it's just a aesthetic thing. I think it would look better with a longer bed. It would look a little more proportioned properly. But with having the short bed, it puts the wheels right at the back, and it's good for backing over stumps or things like that. So it's a good off-road vehicle. The other thing that the other complaint I had about it, or something I'd like to see different, is the turning radius is not as good as I would like it to be. And I find that even now riding in the woods, I have to sometimes back up and turn a little bit because it just seems like it should turn sharper than that. I don't know how sharp other ones turn. We do have the old golf cart, and the golf carts turn like on a dime. They're great. So maybe I was spoiled by that, but I would like to see a sharper turning radius. But otherwise, it's a really well-made machine. Really solid. Feels good. Um, Feels really solid. Doesn't rattle or anything other than the doors. The doors rattle. That's a common thing. But the mechanics of it, it's pretty solid. I'm happy to see that. So Jesse has a CF Moto and a Mahindra. Love both of them. There you go. There you go from Jesse. Take it from Jesse. So let's see. Yeah, now that's a point too, David, that when your four-wheelers turn harder in four-wheel drive, tighter turning radius in two-wheel drive, I don't find that with the Mule. I know that's true with a lot of machines. The mechanics of four-wheel drive is when you're in four-wheel drive and you turn, it fights itself. The Mule is really smooth. When you're in four-wheel drive, um, I find that it doesn't really fight itself. Maybe that's because they limited the turning radius, but it's very smooth in four-wheel drive. It does have one thing I really like about it. In addition to four-wheel drive, it has the locking differential, two different switches on the dash. So you put it in four-wheel drive, and then you put the locking diff on, which locks the rear differential, not the front. So essentially, when you're in two-wheel drive, you're basically one-wheel drive. One of the back wheels is going to lose traction and slip. So you're kind of one-wheel drive when you're in two-wheel drive. When you're in four-wheel drive, you're in two-wheel drive because you've got one front wheel and one back wheel that's going to, with the differential, the one that loses traction is going to spin. So uh, in uh, so in two-wheel drive, you're actually in one-wheel drive. In four-wheel drive, you're actually in two-wheel drive. If you engage four-wheel drive and diff lock, you're in three-wheel drive. You've got both back wheels locked together and one front wheel. So you can have one-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, or three-wheel drive, but not four-wheel drive, even though it says it. At least that's my take on that. So, and Brian uses a golf cart. Nothing wrong with that. I love our golf cart. We were going to sell it. We have the Club Car DS. It's a classic machine, gas-powered, aluminum frame, lightweight, strong, slow, but quiet and comfortable. And I put the 6-inch lift kit on it with the big tires. Didn't hurt the power much. Looks cool. So really, we kept it because Ann prefers driving the golf cart around a lot of times. So we still have it. And the value of those things is actually increasing as years go on. I suppose it'll reach a point where it kind of falls off. But I think a good running golf cart certainly holds its value. So, Ross, what are you doing in here? You're supposed to be with Aiden on his birthday. Well, go back to your party. Go back to your family. As Ross, earlier on, we were wishing happy birthday to Aiden. So, by the way, I didn't mention this, but if you're followers of the Super Bowl, congratulations to the Chiefs. Can you believe I didn't have to change my graphic from last year? I had this one up here last year, but they won again. So I was able to put this same exact one up. It's a good thing I didn't delete it for a year. Anyway, congratulations to them. I didn't watch the game. I saw some of it, but didn't really follow it. I know it was a close game. A lot of people today saying it was a good game. So congratulations to the fans who are the winners and wanted it to be. But anyway, it was it's good to have that. I guess it's camaraderie of a sport that people can gather around and maybe win and lose gracefully. I hope. I don't know. Anyway, remember, if you have questions, put them in the live chat. We'll talk more about questions. And yeah, that's what we do. But we'll do a giveaway here shortly. That'll be fun. So do stick around for that, and we'll get you out of here by 8 o'clock tonight. David said the commercials were disappointing. I saw a few of the commercials. Thought they were good. There's nothing that really stands out to me. So, but I was saying last night, like, gosh, it's so difficult to come up with a commercial because the expectation is so high that the commercials are going to be great. And even a good commercial or a commercial that might have seemed great in the past is now like, like that's cool. But uh, I wouldn't want the pressure of trying to come up with a really good, clever commercial. So yes, David, from what I see, the storm is going to miss us. We're south of Philadelphia, and that is always the line that I guess it's along the Delaware River. Maybe it's warmer and pushes it up, but it just almost always stops just above us. So I think I don't know what we're going to get, but I think just above us, they were saying less than an inch of snow. Go up a little further, I think up in North Jersey, they can be getting 6, 8 inches. But we're below all that, and that's okay because finally things are drying up around here. It was it's still muddy in places, but it was wet everywhere. We had Lake Lucinda out here that was full for over a month, and finally it's dried up. There's a ring, like a bathtub ring in the yard where this lake was from all this water, and all the debris from that is all around. So there's a ring in the yard. But so that's kind of dried up, and I'm happy for that. Great question, Chev Head Ed. I did want to bring this up. News on the drone. Well, if you saw the short little video that I put out, the YouTube short, or Facebook, or TikTok, or Instagram, the old drone was damaged this weekend. It was Saturday morning. I was flying, and I was trying to get creative, and I knew better. I always fly. My rule of thumb is to be like 85 feet above ground. I usually just go for 100, but I know 85 is generally the safe zone. I haven't encountered any trees or anything in this area or in this part of the state where 85 feet isn't safe. 100 feet is definitely safe. Well, here I was trying to get really creative, and this was an old golf course, and I was trying to fly relatively low, just at the top of the trees. I was going between the trees. I was like 55 or 50 feet tall. And of course, that's above ground level where you start. So if you start out and you go up 55 feet and then there's a hill, well, you're not 55 feet anymore. You're 55 feet above where you started. So I was flying above these trees nice and low. It was looking really cool. And then dead center right in front of me was a tree. And of course, the feed on your display when you're flying the drone is probably a millisecond or whatever a millisecond is, but it's a tenth of a second delayed from where the drone actually is. So I saw this tree. I saw it coming, and I was in sport mode. In sport mode, you lose all the sensors. If you're not in sport mode, the drone has sensors all around. If you fly out to a building or a tree, it'll stop if it sees it. I was in sport mode because I was going like 30 miles an hour to get this cool shot, and you lose the sensors. I see the tree, and as soon as I see it, I grab the stick to pull up, but it just goes black, and that's it. So I was able to find it, which is really a cool thing about DJI and maybe other drone companies. But right on the app, I could see a mark where the drone had last been. It even had a little video icon on the screen. I tapped the video icon, and it played back the last few seconds so I could see the tree that I was looking for. And then I just walked. Luckily, it was just a straight line. I walked, I think it was like a tenth of a mile, could have been a quarter of a mile. It seemed really far. I walked, and just like when you're using GPS on your maps, I could see my own little dot getting closer and closer and closer. And I got to this tree, and I'm like, well, it's got to be around here somewhere. And I found a broken prop on the ground. And my hope was that it was not stuck 50 feet up in the tree, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I'm looking around, and finally I walk around the other side of the tree, and there it was, laying on its back, upside down, quivering, broken arm, and so didn't work. I brought it home and turned it on, and it connected to the remote. I was able to turn all the motors on, so the motors all worked. I was going to basically just epoxy the arm back together. It worked, but the problem is the gimbal would not function, wouldn't find center. I wasn't able to control it at all, so the gimbal wasn't working. I could have definitely glued the arm back together and probably flown it, but with the gimbal not working, there's no point in that. So I filed a repair quote with DJI. They have a really good system for that. It's not under warranty anymore. It's that thing's already 4 years old or more. I did have the DJI Care, which is you can get like a 2-year warranty with it. You pay like $180 more for that, and you get like 2 replacements over the next 2 years if you wreck it or lose it or anything like that. So I did pay for that, but it expired 2 years ago. So this is all out of my pocket. I did send it off today. DJI has a system where you enter it in. I bought it through the DJI store, which is nice because they have record of when I bought it. So I was able to click on that particular model and say, that's what I'm returning. They provided a shipping label to ship it to them for free. I boxed it up and went out today, and they should have it in Texas later this week. And then I guess they'll evaluate it and send me a quote. And if it's too much, I'll forego that and maybe buy the Air 3, which is out now. But we're really happy with that Air 2S. Really performs well. I have no complaints with it. So hopefully they can fix it for a few $100s, and we'll be in good shape. So we'll see. We'll see. But thanks for asking. These things just happen. I can show you a little clip that I didn't put online yet. Shared it with my friend Tommy. That's why he's laughing about it, because it was basically when I found the drone. Here, I'll show it to you, John Ritter style here. Here we go. Poor thing. There's the leg. It was almost like finding a little animal there. Just was a little head quivering. I'll tell you, I felt a little emotional walking up on it and seeing it like that, because it had its arms, or their arms and legs like sprawled out, and the one was broken, and this little gimbal was quivering, and it was very lifelike, and I felt a little emotional finding this thing, but I was glad I found it. But it's all good, it's the it just happens. Yeah, and I'll let you know, John, what they come up with. Let's take guesses. What do you think it'll cost to replace the broken arm? I was going to show it to you. Duh, it's in the box in the mail. To replace the broken arm and fix that gimbal. Hopefully, they don't have to replace the camera and everything. But what do you think the charge will be to replace that? It was $1,000 drone back when I bought it. I bought the Fly More combo, so it cost me like $1,250 because it gave you 2 extra batteries and a couple things. But essentially, it was $1,000 drone. I think $1,099 was the base price for that. So what do you think DJI is going to charge or estimate to replace the arm and the camera head or the gimbal, whatever that has to do? So let me know what you think. I have an idea in my mind what I think it'll cost, but I'm curious what you think. I'm seeing some folks here. John says 200. Chris says 250. Phil says 500. Bob says 350. Mulligan Farms 425. I think we're all within the range of thinking the same thing. I was thinking I wouldn't be surprised by $500. I would like it to be less than that. I think in my mind, I don't even know if I want to pay 500. I think if I pay 500 to replace it or to fix it, then I could sell it for 500, which is pointless. That's the same thing as just throwing it away, I guess, at that point. But at least I could still use it. And it's better than buying a new one for $1,000 or $1,200, or now the Air 3 is out there. And if you get the Fly More combo, you're again at $1,200, $1,500. So Yeah, we're all in the same range, thinking that it's going to be, I guess, just below 500. So let's see. If they can't come back with an $800 estimate for $1,000 drone that's 4 or 5 years old already, right? Maybe it'll be like 250. That'd be cool. That'd be awesome. I'd be happy with that. Indeed. I should know probably by next Monday. I'm thinking that they'll get it by the end of this week. Hopefully, they'll evaluate it quickly. I have to give DJI credit um, for their service. I have this. Uh, Action. Which one is this? The Action 3. I had the original Action here too. Action 1, not 2. Also, the Action 1, and then I have the Action 3. I bought the Action 3. I was happy with the Action 1. I bought the Action 3 because it allows you to have both screens on simultaneously. And that's a big win because I use the Action 1 a lot of times for recording something, and you turn the camera around to talk into the camera, but you'd have to hit a button to switch the camera view so you could see the screen. So this one, you can have both screens on, which is really great when you're talking to the camera, and then you turn it around and see what's in the back. I love that about this. Picture quality is, it's acceptable, but it's not great. The what's the other one? Now I forget the thing now. The other one that's out, it's like a vlogging cam. I like the looks of that 1-inch sensor, and all right, we won't go into there. But anyway, I have the DJI mic that goes with this. This is the mic, and the mic system plugs directly into this camera. So it's modular and it works really well. That was the other reason I went for this, because I wanted a simple system with 2 mics, and they just plug in and work. But lately, sometimes the mic connection drops out. And I had that problem once before. I sent it back. They replaced a board in the, and these are, again, they're beyond warranty. They replaced a board in the mic, didn't charge me for it. It seemed to work, but now I'm having this issue again where it's losing connectivity. I've been back and forth on email with DJI. They've said, try this, try that. I've tried it. I sent them videos. The problem is they're almost too responsive. If they don't hear from you within 2 days, they're like, well, I guess your case is closed. And then you're right back like, no, it's just, it's not working right. And then they even offered now that I should send the camera and the mic back. I told them, look, we've been through this before. You couldn't solve it last time. I don't know what to tell you. And they wrote back and said, no problem. We'll work with you. When you're ready to send it back, we'll take a look at it. So they're very, they're not just saying, sorry, you're out of warranty. They've been very responsive, and I have to give them credit for that. Communication is not always the easiest or the best, but it's good. I mean, they could easily say, you're out of warranty, and best thing you do is replace it. So anyway, so kudos to DJI. Yes, Pocket 3, that's the one. I was thinking about getting one of those, but I'm not ready to do that just yet. I'm not sure that's really would work for what I need. I don't know. I might. We'll see. There's no rush because I have working cameras. They work great. No worries for that. Question from Who's Your Handyman? Do you need a license to operate in New Jersey? I assume you're talking about a drone. You need a drone license to operate anywhere in the United States if you're doing it commercially. So, it's loosely enforced. I mean, you don't need it, but technically, again, if we're talking drones, you need the Part 107 drone operator's license if you're doing anything commercial. So, like if I take pictures for a real estate agent, technically that's a commercial operation. If I'm charging for my services, you're supposed to be a licensed drone operator for that. I'm making videos for YouTube. YouTube pays ad revenue. It's a business. It's a commercial operation. You need to have a Part 107 drone operator's license to use that footage in your video, technically. And then here's the thing. Even if you have a YouTube channel and you're not monetized, if you do, in fact, one day expect to become monetized, you should have that drone operator's license to take those shots and use them in your videos, because it is still considered a commercial proposition, I suppose. So, yes. Well, Chris, the researcher here from the interwebs, DJI repair cost is $65 an hour plus parts. Gimbal camera component, $101. Motor arms, $19 to $22. Huh. That kind of sounds promising, doesn't it? I mean, of course, it would take me 10 hours to take that thing apart and put it back together again, but I'm sure a technician who does it all the time, they could probably replace the arm in an hour, the camera in an hour. All right. That gives me hope, Chris. That gives me hope. All right, let's do this giveaway. Skip, the wood stove is burning hot. Let me tell you, we love it so much. Now, winter has eased up a bit. We had really one cold snap, and we burned the heck out of that thing, and it kept the house really comfortable. Right now, it's just kind of burning. We keep it on a low burn, just kind of a smolder all day long. It's right below me at this moment. So this room is extremely warm. The stairs are there. It comes up the stairs, comes up, hot air comes up through the holes in the floor of the old farmhouse. Plenty warm. The bedroom is further away a little bit, and we actually keep the bedroom door closed so the hot air doesn't get in there and keep the bedroom a little bit cooler. It's really working well. We're really happy with it. I did have to clean out the catalysts. This is a clean burning stove, meeting the EPA regulations. Been reading a lot about how dirty wood stoves are, not only for the environment, but for ourselves as well. A little disappointing because you feel like you're burning something natural, but it's actually pretty high pollutant. Again, not just for the environment, for your own self. So you got to be careful with that, I guess. But it has the catalyst, which are these ceramic, just like your car has a catalytic converter, takes the unburned fuel and kind of reburns it and burns off any of those pollutants, and has a much cleaner exhaust. But those catalysts, you get fly ash that comes up and kind of blocks off those catalysts. They're like a honeycomb shape. And I found that the stove was not performing as well, and found out that you really do need to clean those catalysts off, probably monthly, which is not hard to do. You just have to take a panel out, brush them off lightly, and the fly ash falls down. And it was super easy and made a tremendous difference. But you got to do that on these stoves that have that option or that feature. So, yeah. So that's what that's how that is. Outdoor Adventures has a Part 107. It was a lot more than expected. Was locked in a room at a local airport to take the test. Yep, that's exactly my experience as well. I paid for drone pilot ground school, I think it's called. Took the course there. It was I felt like it was pretty intense. Some people say, "Oh, I took it without even studying or anything." Maybe I'm not a good student, but that was an intense course. I really studied hard for it, and I didn't get 100 on the test, but I got more than was needed to pass. I had to go to a local airport too. And again, this is not a flying test. It's just a knowledge test. And it really isn't even about drones. It's about aircraft and airports. But I had to do the same thing. I went to a local airport testing center, sat down at the computer, took the test. I found it very stressful, but that's because I don't like taking tests. I don't like school. None of that stresses me out. But anyway, I passed it. It was all good. And then you have to renew every other year. Every 2 years, you have to renew, even though what's with the balloons? Even though there's really no expiration on the license, that just shows you an issue date. You still have to legally renew every 2 years. And then there's a paper you print out, and you put that paper in with your drone. So if you do get questions, you can pull out the paper and show that you're up to date as well. Is that me doing this with the fingers? Is that making it do that? I guess so. What is going on? Okay, I got to read up on what's going on. Remember, there was like fireworks one time when I did this. Was it that? I don't know. So now we know balloons, and then we know the thumbs up, right? What's going on? I don't get it. Listen, it's also Valentine's Day. Now, you're not going to get this in time for Valentine's Day because it's a couple days away, but you want to get your someone special something cool. We're going to do, this is a big one again. We're going to do a mug giveaway. Let's do a mug giveaway. It's going to be drop shipped to you directly from spring.com or Teespring, whatever the heck it's called now. Anyway, simple rules. If you've never won the mug before, then you can enter. If you have won the mug before, and that's not many of you, if you have not won the mug, then you may enter. If you have won the mug, please don't enter and give somebody else a chance to win. We're going to do that right now. You could win this mug or one exactly like it. You're not going to win this mug. This one's mine. Let's do that. So, little setup here. We're going to do this live. So you'll know tonight if you're the winner. And that's really about it. So, I'm going to share a word phrase on the screen, and you're going to type it into the live chat, and then we're going to pick randomly who the winner is. It's just that simple. So, in the live chat, type hashtag love MCG because it's Valentine's. You know, we're going to share the love tonight. And that's for a chance to win one of these fancy mugs. So just type it in there. Just like Mike did. Now you can do uppercase and lowercase or any combination, but make sure you put the hashtag in. Make sure there's no spaces. You can do all lowercase like Duff did here. Love MCG. Outdoor Adventures did lowercase love, uppercase MCG. Doesn't matter how you do it. You can do all uppercase if you want. You don't need to enter more than once because it'll kick out any additional entries. All right. Brutal Bob did it. Just like that. Hashtag love MCG. This is fun, right? Because this, people have won the stickers in the past. A lot of stickers we've given away. Not too many mugs. So do it like that. Kim loves MCG. Ronnie loves MC. Now, Ronnie, see, there's a space in there, buddy. Retype that, Ronnie. You can do another entry. Type hashtag love MCG, but don't put the space in there because that won't count. I want you to have a fair chance here, Ronnie. So do it again, Ronnie. Hashtag love MCG with no space. Look at Roy. All uppercase. That's okay, Roy. That'll work. That could work. There's our friend James. Hope you're doing well, James. James loves MCG. All right. Ronnie, I hope you re-entered. The volume control is kind of touchy on this. All right, but we're going to do it now. Ready? As soon as this song ends, which is momentarily. Here we go. Whoa, it's Outdoor Adventures. Congratulations. You are the winner of the mug tonight on this Valentine's Day special that we never talked about or said anything about Valentine's Day until just this moment. But congratulations to you. Here's the deal. If you've not done this in the past, you need to send me an email at contactmcgtv@gmail.com and send your name and your mailing address or shipping address, whatever works, however that works. They're going to be shipped to you, I think, through the postal service. So mailing address, name and mailing address. I will have it shipped to you, drop shipped from Spring. They have to make it because they're made to order. I don't know how long it takes. Could be 2 weeks, could be a month. No guarantees on that, but you will get it. I can tell you that. So email me. Let me know your name and mailing address. Let me know that you won the mug tonight on this live stream, this Valentine's Day live stream, and we'll get it to you. So congratulations. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? Always fun to do that. I appreciate you being here tonight. I hope you have a great week ahead of you. It's It's Monday. It's February. Spring is technically a month and a half away. Um, so we're pressing on. But what a great way to start the week with you folks. It's always a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. There'll be some new videos coming out soon. And I really appreciate you watching the videos. That's all you have to do to support this channel is watch the videos. Of course, if you like the videos, if you comment on the videos, that helps the algorithm. That means a lot to me. So it's all I'm asking is that you watch the videos when they come out, and that is just a great way to support. But also your interaction, to let me know that you're enjoying the videos. Obviously, you're not going to watch them if you don't enjoy them. So watch them. Give me some feedback if you like the videos. If you'd like to see different things, let me know what you're thinking, and we'll keep going. So it's a good time. Thanks for being here. Fun time. Have a great week. As always, I look forward to seeing you next time.